Hi, this is Professor Bowen-Moore. This video is explaining the minor project 6, which is the magazine print cover and first 2 pages of the opening spread of the feature article inside the printed magazine. So for this assignment, you will set your InDesign document up for print. It will be letter size pages, and there will be 4 pages to this document. And when you start your document, remember to label it with your last name first, and then you can use the project title or just say MP6, either one. We are working in picas. This is letter size, but we will select print, letter. Again, 4 pages. We will select facing pages that will give us a spread view. And we will be using a 12-column grid on this, so you can break content up in 2s, 3s, and 4s very easily. You can keep the default text margins. If you make them custom, do not make them much smaller than a 1/2 inch, which is 3 picas. Your bleed margin needs to be set up because most images will bleed, especially on the cover. So we want that to be 1/8 of an inch, which in picas is 9 points, or 0.125 inches if you're working in inches. So we will set the document up to look like this. So your first page, that would be this will be your cover design. Then the spread view pages, this will act as the first 2 pages of your print of the feature article inside the magazine. The last page will be used just to document your visual resource credits for the image you used for the opening of the article, as well as the print cover. So we will document those source credits on this last page, just in a text box. You can display the URL where you got those images, or just put the specific source. If you get them off the internet, you cannot use Google as a source credit. You need a specific website or specific name or source to your image for the credit to that image. So this is kind of what your document will look like. Now I am showing you a past student example here to use as the explanation. This is her cover design. This particular article that she chose at the time, I had a sample article that was on Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. So she chose that. Her name of her magazine is Drift Magazine. This is the cover of a printed issue. And she did forget the issue date. So make sure you include the issue date there. But we do have at least 3 cover lines on the cover, which is required. The prominent cover line needs to relate to the top story in this issue, which is the feature article that she chose, which will act as the top story of this issue. The other 2 are cover lines represent other stories that are in this issue. Those are made up. So she just made those up for the sake of the assignment. But however, these cover lines that you choose will carry over to the final project. All of the elements and all of the conceptual work that you are doing on your branding sheet and this assignment will all carry over to the final project, and we'll build upon that. I'm giving you the image for the barcode, which is a vector file, a EPS. So you will use that EPS file to place the barcode on the page. The image that you choose for the cover is up to you. It needs to relate to the top feature story that you chose out of the samples. So here she's got a picture of Billy Gibbons with his guitar, with one of the hot rod cars behind him. And you definitely want to do some versioning or test different images. for this assignment before your final rendering. So make sure you save some PDFs of different drafts that you complete before your final. You will have to include those in your final package folder, or you'll have to include those PDFs. The other part of this is the opening 2 pages of the feature. So this feature story, the main headline is Rock and Roll, Kickin' Foods and Hot Rods. The deck is ZZ Top's Billy F. Gibbons checks in on all 3. And then we have our byline, which is the author, and our photo credit for this opening image here. So also required for the opening spread is at least the first paragraph of the copy of the article. So she included an actual full column here, which is fine. She added the first part as a lead into the story. So it's the type treatment's a little different. It's a little bigger and in italics. And then she includes a drop cap to start the initial content or the main copy of the story. And so she's got it here in a 4-column vertical column here. Folios, which you are required, which include the page numbers. You can design the folios however you would like. However, make sure that you put the odd number page number on the right page. Even page numbers go on the left side or the left page. So you will need to include that. Obviously, she didn't put one on the left side because we have this full image bleeding off the page to the bleed margins on this side. So it wasn't necessary to put a folio there. So that is the opening 2 pages, or the spread view of the opening 2 pages of the feature article inside the magazine. Now we have it as page 59, generally because the feature story is usually somewhere in the middle of a magazine. Most magazines have at least 80 pages, so you can just pick what number or where it is in your magazine, somewhere in the middle. So you can choose those page numbers as well. So the thing here is to think about, obviously, you want a captivating image for the opening of the article as well. We want to entice the readers to read the content and flip the page to continue reading the article. So that's the goal here, along with just fundamentals like strong alignments. Like, for instance, the baseline of this deck here at the bottom is aligning with the baseline of the photo credit here at the bottom on the other side or other page. So it's important to think about your fundamentals, strong alignments, aligning to your grid, keeping your text or type within the text margins on the page. The folios can go a little outside those text margins, but you need to keep them away from the edge of the page. Using your bleed margins for any bleeding imagery, things like that. So make sure your type treatment is working in the copy that you place. So you will have, to think about the size and the leading and, indentions for paragraphs, if that applies, or spacing between paragraphs. So those things will have to be considered. And you will be using your branded elements here. So your logo type from your branding sheet, that typeface, and then the other 2 typefaces that are used in the body of the magazine. This particular student used Brisset as their serif, and then they used Antigua as their sans serif. And then the logo type is Anisette Standard Petite. So we want the serif and sans serif that go in the body of the magazine to be simple, easy to read, especially at a smaller size, because you will alternate between that serif and sans serif throughout the entire magazine for all types of content like headers, captions, photo credits, folios, pull quotes, anything like that, body copy. So that's something to keep in mind, but you will use your branded elements here throughout the magazine itself. Now, as far as the branded colors, this particular image on the cover design, the colors and the type are pulled from the imagery, not from your branded color palette. However, in the magazine, inside the magazine, you are welcome to use some of your branded colors for little things, like if you wanted to use that for a folio type color here at the bottom, or little things that are recurring throughout the magazine. In this case, she didn't really need that. We still continued to pull from the image here to create more color harmony on the page. So this gold kind of orangey color came from the image. In this case, oops, let me zoom in. She pulled it from right here in this glow of the car. So it kind of blends with that, as well as his beard and things like that. So the last page, again, in your document will be used to document your photo credits of where you got the opening image and the cover image. So that's the gist of this minor project. This, like I said, will carry over to the final UI UX, which is the mobile app version of your magazine, which will display this current issue as well. In the final project, we will be laying out the entire feature article and more parts of the architecture. But for this, I wanted you to just focus on just the opening spread and understanding how the feature works cohesively inside the magazine in relation to the cover of the magazine, and some of those parts of the architecture there. So if you have any questions about this, please reach out, and otherwise, good luck and thank you.